Hey guys, Tyler here. Jean-Luc Picard is, naturally, one of the most iconic characters from Star Trek. The captain of the Enterprise D in The Next Generation, Picard has been a major face of the franchise for decades. So it's understandable that when CBS approached Discovery showrunner Alex Kurtzman about making more Trek shows, Kurtzman wanted to bring back Patrick Stewart in one of his most recognizable roles. The resulting spin-off, Star Trek Picard, debuted in 2020 to generally favorable reviews from critics, but a mixed reception among audiences. One charge levied at Picard's first season is that it stole plot elements from the game series Mass Effect, which debuted in 2007. Of particular concern were visual and thematic parallels between ancient prophecies warning against an uprising of synthetic life. In this video, I'd like to examine just how similar Picard's depiction of this trope is compared to Mass Effect's. Let's get started. Before we begin, spoiler warning for Star Trek Picard and all of Mass Effect. In Season 1 of Picard, we learn that hundreds of years before the 24th century, Romulans discovered the planet Aya while investigating the mystery of the Eightfold Stars. The stars in this octenary system were artificially moved into orbit around each other some 200,000 to 300,000 years ago by an unknown ancient civilization. They left an encoded message known as the Admonition, which showed racing images of, the apocalypse, the extinction of organic life at the hands of their synthetic creations. Any organic being who dared to witness the admonition could be driven to madness, even self-harm or suicide. The Romulans mistook this message as a warning by organics against synthetic life, but in fact, the admonition was a repository of memories of synthetics that killed their creators. Before departing for another dimension, these synthetics left the admonition as a beacon for others like them for their protection. Should they be summoned, the alliance of synthetic life would return to wipe out all organic intelligent beings. Now, the trope of artificial life rising up and rebelling against its creators certainly isn't new by any means. It can be glimpsed as far back as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, published in 1818, as Victor ponders whether granting his monster's wish and making him a wife would lead them to reproduce and overthrow humanity. But as I alluded to earlier, some of the specific details surrounding the admonition are eerily similar to the prophecy Commander Shepard witnesses from the Prothean beacon on Eden Prime in the first Mass Effect, which again came out in 2007. In the game, the SSV Normandy is dispatched to Eden Prime to investigate this rare Prothean artifact, whose discovery sends shockwaves throughout the Human Systems Alliance's scientific community. These beacons constituted a system of near-instantaneous communication throughout the Protheans' pan-galactic empire. The beacons were made to interface with a person's brain rather than through audio or visual means, as the Protheans considered tactile contact to be a more efficient means of sharing information. By accidentally accessing the Eden Prime beacon, Commander Shepard triggers a vision warning of the Reapers.
Ah yes, Reapers!
A highly advanced machine race. The Reapers reside in dark space, the vast, mostly starless space between galaxies. Hibernating for 50,000 years at a time, the Reapers wait for intelligent civilizations to arise and develop synthetic life before they return to the galaxy. Upon their return, the Reapers harvest sapient life in a repeating cycle of purges called the Harvest, which has endured for countless millennia. The Reapers even created the Citadel and the Mass Relay Network with the express purpose of accelerating intelligent species' technological development. Both of these massive structures were later misattributed to the Protheans, who did in fact inhabit the Citadel before it was discovered by the Asari thousands of years later. We don't actually learn the whole truth about the Reapers' origins until Mass Effect 3 with the 2012 DLC Leviathan. This DLC reveals that the Reapers arose nearly 1 billion years ago, when the galaxy was ruled by an aquatic race called the Leviathans. the Leviathans created artificial intelligence that eventually turned on them and slaughtered most of their kind, going on to create the first true Reaper, Harbinger.
This hurts you.
Harbinger's form, which resembled the Leviathans themselves, became a template for subsequent Reapers over millions of years. After accessing the Prothean beacon in Mass Effect 1, though, all we can gather of the Reaper's plan is a series of jumbled, random, yet vivid images. The shock causes an initial 15 hours of unconsciousness and leaves Shepard with recurring nightmares. Comprehending the message as it is meant to be seen requires the cipher, which enables both Shepard and the rogue Turian Spectre Saren Arterius to make sense of the visions. The message from the beacon is, indeed, only meant for Prothean minds, who have the biological suitability and cultural context necessary to fully appreciate the message's contents. In fact, the Eden Prime beacon is badly damaged, reportedly in the attack on the colony by the Reaper's Sovereign. Not only does the beacon fail to respond without warning when Shepard approaches it, but the damage leaves the message incomplete. The beacon also explodes from a systems overload. Later, Liara Tassoni comments that Shepard must be exceptionally strong-willed, which leaves Liara exhausted after mind-melding with Shepard due to the intensity of interfacing with the beacon. Nevertheless, both Saren and Shepard are able to use the cipher to finally understand the message. The cipher is transferred directly into Shepard's mind by another Asari, Shiala, a former employee of Saren's on the planet Pharos. Likewise, in Star Trek Picard, the admonition is in fact meant only for synthetic minds. This is one reason that most organic beings who try to observe it go mad. However, we see at least 3 individuals access the admonition without literally killing themselves. Narissa, a Tal Shiar colonel, General O, a Romulan agent posing as the head of Starfleet security, and Dr. Agnes Jurati, who helps Picard and company figure out the mystery of the ancient synths. Of course, O passes the admonition to Jurati through a mind meld, rather than Jurati visiting Aya herself, but the dynamic of both an antagonist and member of the hero crew witnessing the prophecy is, admittedly, quite similar to the dynamic of Saren and Shepard in ME1. Additionally, O and Saren both embrace their respective prophecies, coming away with delusions regarding their intended purpose. And finally, it is only after mind melding with another intelligent being, the android Sutra on the planet Capilius, that Jurati is able to fully make sense of the admonition. So, did Star Trek Picard rip off Mass Effect? Well, overall, I'm going to say no, at least if we go by the strictest definition of rip-off. Yes, there are quite a few similarities between the plot of Picard Season 1 and the first Mass Effect game. Both prophecies were left on an abandoned planet by an ancient civilization. Both depicted the extinction of intelligent organic life at the hands of synthetics, and both franchises' lore, much like Battlestar Galactica, incorporates cycles of creation and destruction, and wars between organic and synthetic life. Indeed, as I mentioned earlier, even the admonition itself, as presented to the audience, undoubtedly pulled some visual inspiration from Shepard's vision in ME1. However, there are some important differences. Like I said, the admonition was in fact created by synthetics to offer their future brethren a lifeline to end their oppression by organics. General O even took it upon herself to unsuccessfully attempt to destroy the synths on Capilius, who planned to contact the Synthetic Alliance and initiate a galactic purge. The Protheans, on the other hand, left their message explicitly to warn other organics, similar to what the Romulans thought was communicated by the admonition. And again, the method by which all of these individuals obtain knowledge of the respective prophecies is different. To say that the admonition in Picard was inspired by the Prothean beacon in Mass Effect is perhaps an understatement, and I think it's undeniable that, generally speaking, modern Trek has pulled a lot of inspiration from games like Mass Effect and Halo. But as I have hopefully demonstrated today, none of these franchises invented the general concept of robot uprisings or ancient prophecies, and as far as the specific details, well, as they say, good artists copy, but great artists steal. That is to say, everything's a remix. Even Mass Effect itself borrows heavily, both in terms of lore and aesthetics, from other sci-fi media. In fact, I have a video on my channel cataloging Star Trek references in Mass Effect, which I encourage you to check out if you haven't already. Link in the description. There's nothing wrong with pointing out the similarities between all of these franchises, and I do think that there are other valid criticisms of the writing in Season 1 of Picard, but I'm not going to get into that today. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below and don't forget to share it. That stuff really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that as well so you won't miss future uploads, and click the bell icon to receive all notifications. If you want to support my work even further, becoming a patron or a member is a great way to do so. Links to those, as well as my social media and merch store, are in the description. That's all I have for this week. Live long and prosper. I should go.
What you are about to experience will drive some of you mad. But those of you who endure will be stronger.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Please clap.